Hey guys, welcome back. I am Jason Salyer, and moto camping, motorcycle camping, adventure riding has always been a bit of a struggle because it forces you to be a minimalist and you can only carry so much gear. You cannot necessarily carry all of the stuff that you would like to have. You just have to boil it down to the absolute essentials, and that's pretty much it. So I'm going to show you a couple, well, really one way that I've found that works really well for super minimal, ultra light camping just in general, but specifically for motorcycling. In the past, I've been using a hammock and set up in trees and whatnot, but then you're limited to where you can set it up because you need two fairly good sized trees that are the right distance apart. It requires sometimes a little bit of modification, especially if you're not, well, definitely if you're not camping in campgrounds, which rarely do I find myself in campgrounds. So I'm going to show you something that's going to work even if you're in the middle of absolute nowhere. As long as you got a place to park your motorcycle, you'll have a place to park yourself. So my shelter of choice is and has always been a poncho because it's so versatile. You can wear the thing around camp. Obviously, you wouldn't want to wear this on the motorcycle, but you can wear it around camp, keep yourself dry. You can drape it over your gear, keep it dry, conceal your motorcycle from would-be, enforcers of laws if you should happen to be camping in a place that maybe you're not necessarily supposed to be. Not that I would ever do that, but it works good for that as well. And it also works good for your tarp or for your sleep shelter. And the simplest thing that I have found to do, and I do this with all of my tarps and all my ponchos, is I attach a small piece of cordage like this bank line. Doesn't have to be bank line, but anything like this, just about maybe, I think it's probably 6 inches total. Just tie a loop to the corners, all 4 corners, and then you've got a nice attachment point for your shelter. And then I'll just run my fingers through, cross it over like this, double it over itself basically, and that gives me a lark's head, I believe it's called, and it cinches up on itself really simply, and then it comes out. Well, it's hard to hold the camera and do it at the same time, but it comes out really easily as well. Take my word for it. But if you do such a thing like that, you can attach it to the motorcycle itself and use that as one of the tie-out points, and I'll show you how to do that right now. So this is not Clark, my KTM 350. This is another motorcycle, but it's just, the Clark is a little bit out of commission right now. It's kind of taken apart, so this is going to be a good stand-in. Anyway, so what I'll do is I'll just wrap it around the brake lever here, and it's got they've almost always have a knob kind of on the end of the levers, and this works perfect for that right there. And now I've got a secure tie-out point. And now you're probably thinking, oh man, you're going to tie your shelter to your motorcycle. What if the motorcycle falls over and crushes you in the middle of the night? Yeah, that's definitely a thing. Motorcycles fall over by themselves essentially all the time, so you would never want to sleep right here on this side or on the other side because, the ground is soft, it gets windy, whatever. Gremlins come and just push the thing over. So what you'd want to do is rig your shelter up over here on the front side of the motorcycle like so. And then even if the motorcycle does fall over, all the worst that's going to happen is that your tarp is going to end up on top of you. And that's pretty much it. So you want to make sure that you close up this giant big hole where your head goes, because that's going to leak obviously. So you'll just cinch down the drawstring like so, nice and tight. And then you'll take your poncho underneath the hole, directly underneath the hole, and you just give it 2 twists. Get the cordage out of the way. Give it 2 twists around, like so. And then you'll fold it over to create what I call a gooseneck. And then you'll wrap the cordage around twice, like that. Maybe 3 times. And then go over top your thumb and tuck the rest of the cordage underneath that lash there and snug it down, and that will keep any and all precipitation out of your shelter. I've got some stakes in my pocket. These are just simple, inexpensive metal stakes. They could be aluminum, it doesn't matter, but I like these. They go in the ground really easily. You can make them out of twigs, branches, doesn't matter, but carrying them is pretty simple and they don't weigh very much, and it just saves you some time. And if you're running into camp late, you've been riding all day long, you're exhausted, you're tired, you don't feel like messing around with a bunch of stuff. So just anything that you can do to kind of minimize time, setting up, taking down, is a good thing. So I'll come to the far corner first, the one that's furthest away from the motorcycle. I'll stretch it relatively tight, like so. I'll take my stake and I'll drive it in the ground. I'll do this with all of my stakes. I'll drive it in the ground at an angle. I won't stick it straight in the ground like this. I will drive it in an angle, the bottom going towards what I'm actually anchoring my tarp to. So it doesn't have to be about, you know, I say 45 degrees, but it doesn't have to be 45 degrees, just, you know, an angle towards the motorcycle. I'll drive that in the ground all the way. I'll do the same thing to the other 3 corners, like so. Stretch it tight, but not too tight. Don't want to tear your tarp. And just like that, in just a couple of minutes, I've got myself a shelter that's gonna keep me dry, out of the rain, keep the dew from falling on me, whatever. And it was really simple, and when I'm exhausted and tired from a big day, I could just crawl under this and be done. I'm gonna, most likely I wouldn't carry this kind of mat like this, not because it's too heavy, but because it takes up too much space. I'll carry an inflatable pad. And then I can just pump that thing up and have a really, really comfortable night's sleep no matter what I'm laying on. Use something for my pillow. Maybe I'll get an inflatable pillow if I'm feeling real soft that day. Let me know what you guys think about that. I think that's about as simple, about as lightweight, ultra minimalist camp that you can have when you're talking about adventure riding on a motorcycle. Hit that thumbs up, leave us a comment. Doesn't have to be related to this, just helps with the voodoo YouTube algorithms. Tell me what your favorite kind of candy is. I don't care. Anyway, see you next time.